What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about an in-depth analysis of why a website ranks. A lot of you want more leads in your pressure washing business, landscaping business, whatever. Everybody always wants more leads, but in order to get more leads from Google, you need to rank well. Sometimes it's a little bit mystical about why a website ranks and why it doesn't. I thought today we could go in together and take a look at a website that is not even near me. It's about 5 hours south of me in Alabama. We're going to take a look at it and analyze why it's ranking, why his business is successful, and why he's getting leads from Google with his current protocol. I got my buddy Chris Lonergan here on the line from Footbridge Media, and he's going to be helping me with this analysis. What is up, Chris?
How's it going, Aaron?
Good, man. Thanks for coming on today. Guys, before we jump into this analysis, I'm going to put a link or a banner here up on the screen. If you need a website done, these guys are the best in the game. Footbridge Media. I've been working with Footbridge Media for probably 7-8 years now. They obviously do top tier service. They've been open since 2004 and only build contractor websites. They are specialists at that. If you want the $199 a month deal and save $600 a year, give Footbridge Media, give Aaron O'Hanlon a call right down there at that bottom of the screen, the 88 number, and he'll chat with you about it, shoot you straight, get you fixed up, and see if you're a good fit. Chris, thanks again for coming on.
Of course, always happy to be here.
Dude, I know that everybody wants to rank. Everybody tends to not understand that it's a long game.
100%. 100%.
Ranking on Google is never the short game. I think if somebody wanted to get leads really quick, what would you say?
If you want leads fast, you got to pay for it. You got to pay for advertising. You got to pay for placement. And you got to put in some insane effort. You got to go beat the street. You got to go door knock. That's the fastest way. If you want jobs today, get off of your chair, go drive to a good neighborhood, go walk around and knock at some doors. Otherwise, it's paying for advertising. You're going to pay with time or money no matter what. So website, you're paying long-term for time. Google ads, Facebook ads, you're going to pay right now, probably a little more for it, but you'll get those leads right now too.
Absolutely. I think that's a tough thing for guys to understand. All businesses start from nothing, right? Every restaurant you ever saw, there was a day they were in there painting the walls, cleaning the floors, moving equipment in, and there was a day they got their first customer. And a lot of people don't understand that restaurant, doesn't matter what kind of restaurant, they've got probably, I don't know, $70,000 worth of equipment in there minimum. They've got a big lease, usually if they're in a high traffic area. So they're invested in that restaurant long before the first customer ever walks through the door. We're lucky in our niche, whereas a guy can grab a pressure washer. This is a double-edged sword because he can get a pressure washer from his grandma's house, or he can go rent one like I did when I was poor, and he can start his business off. The issue with that is the restaurant owner who has $1 million invested, he's up off the couch at 4 a.m. working. He's got investment. He's trying to get that money back. The double-edged sword with our industry is that it's so easy to start. Guys don't understand the amount of beating the pavement and footwork it's going to take in the beginning to actually start moving that boulder up the hill to get some momentum to where you can eventually crest the hill and cruise down to the bottom. That takes a year, 2 years, 3 years in the game to really start reaping the benefits. I would like SEO and a great that you guys build. It's a long game, but it is a sure game. It is one of those games. It's almost like investing in the S&P, right? It's one of those things you put a little bit in, you put a little bit in, eventually over years, it's going to hit a critical mass point and start doubling on itself. I would say, what do you think? Guys should probably do both, right? Both is a good front, being aggressive in the beginning, paying a little bit or beating the streets, and also getting your website done. So Chris, talk to me a little bit about how websites are built and the difference, because we're going to analyze this, but I know these guys are going to analyze basically a Seabiscuit racehorse. Okay. But you can't see that because there's a lot of stuff behind the veil that you guys do. Whereas there's other companies that have probably been in business longer than this gentleman and they're not ranking as well. Talk a little bit about what's behind the veil, behind the scenes, as far as the bricks of the website that hold that thing up and give it the legs to run and win.
Absolutely. Make this idea akin to building out a house or remodeling a house. You can have a property that looks great, fresh paint, new flooring installed, got a nice big flat screen TV installed on the wall, it can look fine. But beneath the surface, if there's not good core structure, if there's not good bones and good foundation, that property is not going to last for a long time. You're going to step through the floor at some point. And when you're building a website, it's very much like that. It's incredibly easy to build a website now more than ever. It's not easy to make one that is structured really well, to build content that works really well, and to have that environment within the website on the technical side of things regarding speed and schema and how you're coding, making all those things work efficiently. That's the difference. You can go out, building a website's easy. Making a website that works really well as a marketing tool, as a long-term investment for business success, that's the hard part.
Right. There's a lot of website builders out there that you can DIY your stuff. The problem is that a lot of those builders, they're wanting to give you the whole kit and caboodle in the coding that you don't even want. You have 4 or 5 pages that you've built, which isn't enough, but you built them and you wrote your stuff. They've got 100 pages worth of coding that are just cluttering up these 5 pages. So your load speed is bad. Your photos are loading slow. People bounce, right? And Google penalizes you for having a slow site. They do penalize you for that, and they will penalize you in the rankings as well. The bricks of the website, like you were saying, are very important. Let's take a look at one of my favorite guys in the industry, Gene Marshall, ex-Marine, good dude, E5M Hydro Wash down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Gene is one of those guys. He got started, I don't know, probably, he may have been pressure washing for a long time. I don't know. But when I met Gene, he came to a serious starter event with Cody and myself. And he's close by down there in Alabama. So I was like, oh, another Bama guy. We're a different breed anyway. He was just super diligent, very much listening to what I told him to do in the class. And he just did it. It's rare people follow instructions that you give them. The people who do, you're like, I told you it would work. And so this is one of those guys. So let's jump here to pressure washing Tuscaloosa, this search term, and take a look here. Let's take a look at pressure washing Tuscaloosa. You guys can see up here at the top. This is really cool. So Chris, give me a little analysis here. He's ranking number 1 here. We got a guy here right above him in the search, but he's ranking close to the top at number 2. Give me a little analysis here on his GMB, if you will, or his GBP or G.
Yeah, absolutely. When we take a look at his Google business profile, you're looking for completeness and you're looking for somebody who's active in business development. So that's really what Google wants. Google sees that you're active and you're building up your own presence and doing it in a way that makes people want to interact with you more. Then that's key. That's really what you need to be successful. So that looks like adding fresh image content. That looks like getting reviews on a regular basis, but also replying to reviews on a regular basis. It means having a listing that's complete. You've got to have listed services. It's nice if you do updates within that social component, the recent updates within a Google listing, and having the completely full overview. So you want to make sure that you are, whether it's for people or for search engines, you want to make sure you're accurately listing the services you offer, the areas you service. You want to make sure when someone lands on that listing, when they click on it and see it for more information, that they like what they see and that they're reassured that they're in the right spot. When people engage with your stuff more, it's a good signal for Google, for them, and for you. So we know he's got years in business. We know he's got a 5.0 average, which is awesome for your reviews. That's hard to pull off, but he's got it with 89 reviews as of right now. Having a 5.0 is great.
Let's take a look at his newest review a week ago. Very nice. It seems like he's been plugging along. He's just one of those guys chopping wood, doing the mundane things that work. There's nothing shiny about this, guys. It's just constantly building on that platform that Footbridge has built. And they also help take care of your GMB and make sure everything stays smooth with Google. His GMB is pretty tight. He doesn't have a crazy amount of reviews, but he has more than his competition.
That's the name of the game, is you've got to outrun the bear at that point. You've got to make sure that your listing outperforms your competition. So it doesn't matter how many you have, as long as it's more than what your competition has.
Let's bump over here to the website real quick. You guys did a beautiful job on the website. Very optimized, Gene Marine, right? I like that. Sell in on that point. Very trustworthy. Very cool. Let's go to the project pages. Chris, tell me a little bit about this. So we've talked about it a decent bit, but he's got 16 pages of project pages. He's very disciplined when it comes to his project pages. Chris, talk a little bit about that.
Matt, the nice thing with these project pages is that we still have variation. A lot of people, when they think about projects, they are afraid it's going to look all the same, especially if you've got a limited number of services you offer. You can still make it different. Having good descriptors and sharing the story behind the project is so key. It's so important. So for the one that we're on now, Incredible Concrete Washing, this is for a customer who had previously used the property as a rental, and then people moved out and he wanted to make the property look good, or she wanted to make the property look good. That gives you the context you need to understand that this is a human story, someone's property. If you're the searcher here, maybe you manage properties, you have multiple properties, you take care of a family member's home. So this is already giving you that idea. It's roping you into the story of how this service works, how the service could benefit you. Having pictures, those before and afters are always great. And having pictures that look like pictures in your neighborhood, that's the kind of stuff that's going to keep people to actually read. When people are thinking about pressure washing, you don't think about enticing people to read along and learn more about your service. But really, in that instance, you're telling a little mini story, especially if it's going to be paired with a review there. That's awesome. It shows you a map that shows the community you're serving, and people can say, hey, I'm right here down the street from where this job was done. I think this is really well done. You can see it's not a ton of text. It doesn't necessarily have to be 1,000 words. If you have a good little story, images, and people can click on it, you throw some bullet points in there, reviews and maps, just those little things can make it where people are interested and they stick around on the page, are engaged in your content because they find it useful. That's it. And at the end of the day, is your content useful to people, to your prospective customers? If it is, then ultimately it should rank in Google. I've seen instances where short service pages, short project pages like this, I've seen them rank and outrank service pages and outrank other people's home pages.
Wow. Yeah, I've actually had a few project pages do that for other people's homepage, outrank them. That's crazy. That just goes to show the bricks of the site are really sturdy. It's very targeted. This dude, look at him. He's doing jobs that are like an hour from Tuscaloosa. This dude's out there. This is where he ranks number one here, and he lives here. But this, it doesn't matter. Gene will come to you. All right. So that's another thing, guys. If you want to be in this business and you're in a smaller town, Tuscaloosa is not super small. But if you're in a smaller town, you got to be willing to drive to some of these places and get this money, because all the money's out there. And what's really cool is, even though Dean doesn't live in Pelham, he's still building project pages for Pelham. He wants more jobs there too. He's willing to come back. I think that's really cool. This is all under one page. He has 16 pages. Yes. So he's very disciplined. If there's a note you could take out of Gene's, it's just be disciplined with your project pages. This dude cleans in Hoover, Alabama a lot. That's not super close to where he's at. It's like 45 minutes or so, but that's really cool. Chris, anything you can add to this as far as what he's been doing on the Tuscaloosa home front?
I think overall, this demonstrates the real power of what you could do with project pages. We've already talked about how it can help and influence people, but also every single one of those project pages that were created there have a very specific physical location and a very specific service that's the primary target for the content. And within the content itself, things are properly linked. I'm on a page for Hoover house washing. It links to the house washing page. It links to his Hoover City page. It's all interconnected in a way that helps to educate Google that people have come to the right spot, that people are coming to this website that is an authority because it specializes in talking about house washing. It specializes in talking about this particular service area. And every one of those project pages is an individual target for Google to learn more about that specific combination. And that's really one of the easiest things. That's an easy win for these project pages. It takes very little effort for you as a contractor to put together to send us some details and photos, but it could be a huge win to help you rank in some locations, maybe smaller cities, maybe even bigger cities, depending on your competition. It can help you rank in multiple areas for multiple long phrase searches. If you're looking for just pressure washing, if you type that into Google, that's going to be highly competitive. But if you type in gutter cleaning Hoover, Alabama, there's less folks targeting that specific key phrase. So if you have a good service page and a good city page and a good project page and all that can meld together, you can create a really good potential landing page to get attention for that long tail phrase. So again, not as much traffic, but over time, if you do that for every service that you offer in every city that you are in, that's giving you tons and tons of targets to get more jobs of that type.
That's a real tight shrimp net dragging behind the boat. Not much gets through that as far as what you're looking to score. Let's do one more. This is pressure washing in Northport, Alabama, which is the northern side of Tuscaloosa. He also ranks for Moundville. He ranks number one here in Northport as well. He is the player in that area. He's ranking for some of these peripheral areas as well. With that kind of radius, I can guarantee you in some of these areas like Duncanville, he's ranking, and maybe even in Vance. He may not be ranking number one, but he's still somewhere in this pack. When you start seeing that, Chris, where a guy's owning like the main city and then a place that's probably 15 minutes north, you can guarantee that some of these other little areas around here, he's also cranking it, especially when he owns the top of the SERP and the top of the GMB. It doesn't get better than this. Okay. Chris, any thoughts on
That's key. Like you said, if you can dominate, if you can have both local and organic presence, that's pretty huge. That demonstrates a pretty strong hold there. The closer you are to the top of that SERP, if you're in position number one, as long as you answer that phone call, you're probably getting the job at that point. If you're positions 2 or 3 or deeper on the map pack, then you'll get the phone call if the people above don't do a good job on customer service answering the phone. You have to be omnipresent. You've got to be present for all the different possible pathways that someone's going to search for you. You've got to be in front of people in the right places. If you were doing physical marketing, you want to have the yard sign on the good corner. You want to make sure you get that maximum visibility. It's the same thing with the internet. You got to be at those intersections of search queries and website where you're going to show up ahead of the competition.
I think guys need to understand it's the long game. Gene's had a site with you guys probably going on 3-4 years now, something like that. Definitely. And he's just done the steps. He's just been very disciplined. As you can see, 16 full pages of projects. That's definitely about 100 projects minimum. And I know he's probably even done more than that. So guys, listen, you do a lot of jobs. Just go home at the end of the day, follow the steps that we teach, that Footbridge teaches as well, and just do the disciplined chopping wood. It's not glamorous, but in year 3, and he's going on year 4, you'll have enough leads coming in. I like to say you want to have a benchmark for your business, a way to run your business that all of the expenses, the running of the business, and even take home can be paid by organic traffic. If you're wanting to ramp it up and really crush it and start building and scaling, then you could put some fire on that Google ads and lean into that even more. For some of these guys, they're just a one truck guy. And I think they're wanting to right off the bat with a website, basically have the same lead flow that Gene has, but they don't understand that Gene's been at it for years at this point. And now Gene can probably take his foot off the gas a little on some Google Ads stuff if he's a one truck business. If he's lean and mean, he probably has enough lead flow from old business that's in a CRM and new leads that's coming on. He could definitely have a solid 6-figure take home with what he's doing. This is what it was for me. I know what we were making, and we weren't running any Google Ads. Then sometimes in the spring, we would do it when I had 2 or 3 guys and we were really trying to crush. But as a lean and mean dude, this is the ideal position for a lot of you. I know that's what you want. A lot of these guys, Chris, they just want to leave their job. Okay. They want freedom, autonomy, being able to dictate when they go to work, right? They don't mind working hard. A lot of these guys who watch this channel, they're hard workers, but they don't want to have to show up at 8 having somebody breathing down their neck. They'd like to show up on the first job at maybe 9:30. Get a little biscuit up there at McDonald's and go to work, cut out at about 3 o'clock, be at the kids' baseball practice and be able to maybe even pick their kids up from school. And that's the dream. And so, guys, if you do that, if you do what we're teaching you, that can be obtained, but you have to be diligent. You have to be disciplined. Chris, thank you again for coming on today, man.
Thank you, Aaron.
Absolutely. Guys, if you want a website, call the link. I'll put the link in the description too, but call this number right here. Talk with Aaron O'Hanlon and he'll get you fixed up. I'll see you in the next video.